right, we're ready to begin with Auburn. I'll ask Coach Pearl for a few opening remarks, then we'll take questions just for the two student athletes and excuse them, and then we'll come back and finish up with Coach. Remember, when you raise your hand and the microphone comes to you, please identify yourself and the outlet that you represent. Coach?
Yeah. I'll start off by congratulating Mississippi State on a great regular season and a great postseason run. To just imagine that team has got as many quad one wins as they already have. They've beaten the best teams in our conference. They've beaten Kentucky. No, actually, they didn't lose. It was close to Kentucky. Lost. They beat Tennessee twice. They beat us. They've beaten Florida. Chris Jans is a great professional. His teams play so hard, so physically, so tough, and he's a good dude. And I know he looked down there a couple times, and he knew we were just doing what we had to do. We have great respect for one another because both of our teams play hard, and I like his team, and I like the way he coaches. It was a rock fight because both teams are playing really, really physical. That's Mississippi State's MO. Our MO is playing hard all the time, not always quite as physical. And I thought the fact that we did not, they won, they beat us on the boards, but we hung in there. We hung in there. I thought that was really important. Our balance and really, really paid off. I thought Jaylin did a tremendous job on Matthews in this game because he's a real factor. I thought our 5 men to only give Tolu 3 baskets, really, really significant that we were able to, kind of defend Mississippi State on the inside was a big factor.
All right, raise your hand for questions for either of the student athletes. Let's go ahead and start on the far right.
Justin Lee with Opelika-Auburn News. Jaylin, second half rebounding was just a lot better. What changed? Did y'all talk about it at halftime or make an adjustment? How'd that happen?
Man, we knew they was dominating us on the offensive glass, so I was like, man, let me just jump up, use my athleticism, and just go grab the rebound. So that was really the key. At halftime we talked about that. I mean, they had more offensive rebounds than we had rebounds total, so we had to, put our pants on, go out there and show them Auburn basketball.
Let's go to the last row on the left side.
This question is, Jack Patterson from WRBL in Columbus. This question is for Jaylin and Chad. Mississippi State came out and kind of, threw the first punch early on. What did it take for you guys to adjust to their style of play and be able to get back in the game?
Jaylin?
I knew, they played before us, so they done played a couple more games before us. So I knew coming out they were going to try to be more physical than us. First half they had to stick around as long as they could and compete at the highest level as possible because they knew they were tired. They knew they probably didn't have as much rest because they had to prepare for us that whole night. And this morning we had to play at 12, so we knew they was going to come out the gate, be physical, and be Mississippi State, which is one of the most physical teams in our league. So, we had to adjust and, respect them, but we had to play our game at the end of the day. So.
And same for Chad? Is that the same question for Chad?
Basically, we knew that it was going to be a dogfight. We played them twice, so we already seen what they're capable of. So we just had to come out there and basically execute. Coach told us what it was going to be about. An SEC tournament, many foul calls. So we knew, it's going to be really a war down there. So we basically came out and listened to Coach, stick to his game plan, and just execute it.
Okay, let's go to the center aisle, row 2.
Guys, you had a 9-point lead. They cut it to 1. Coach calls timeout, and then Dylan Cardwell gets a dunk off a great feed from you, then blocks the 3, then gets another dunk, and it just changed the whole momentum. Can you both talk about that minute of the game?
Chad, would you go first?
To be honest, that was really a game changer that I feel like gave us a spark to everybody. Even it helped us, get the crowd involved too. So it was a really big place. He came in and basically came in clutch and turned the whole momentum around because at that point, how you said they came from a 9-point lead. So I feel like that really helped us a lot.
Okay, Matt, do you have a question? Okay, left side right there.
Jaylin and Chad, this is your first win by single digits all season. What do you think you can kind of learn from that, making plays down the stretch in a tight one?
Jaylin?
make free throws and rebound, really, because, that's especially when it's that close and we're that up like that, they're going to foul us, and then we got to get stops and communicate and stick together. Like, we can't shut down as a team like it's us versus everybody else. So that's what we did.
Same for Chad?
When it comes to games like that, basically it comes to who wants it more, the little 50-50 plays, who's going to make the extra hustle, the one more pass, and who's more disciplined at the end. So I feel like we how he said, we stick together, and we knew, we're going to have to take it out from there. We ain't going to just walk in there, and just get a dub. So I feel like we just stayed together at the end and just stayed composed and came out with the dub.
Okay, question on the center aisle in the back.
Elijah Campbell from 107.5, the game in Columbia. This is for Jaylin. I mean, you guys had 15 assists on 25 made baskets. What's kind of the secret to being able to distribute the ball as well as you guys did against a team that does play passing lanes really well and is that aggressive in forcing turnovers?
Yeah, man, I had a couple bad turnovers because I didn't realize how long they were on the perimeter from the get-go. But, everybody in our team can score the basketball, so we all trust each other in any position, perimeter, inside, especially like Janai and Dylan and me inside, and like you got Chad and Aiden shoot the ball well and outside. So it's very hard to pick and choose who to guard. So like move the ball around, someone's going to get the best options eventually.
Have time for one more question. Let's take the front row right here.
Mitch Davis, the Mitch Davis Show, Jaylin, Chad. I want to ask you guys about the budding rivalry between Mississippi State and Auburn. It seems like a real fun rivalry that's here to stay. I just want to ask you guys about that as players.
Chad?
I mean, we know that they have really great players, especially in the backcourt, but, we know that our guys are better, so they know, we never underestimate them, and every time they come, they always give us a good game, a good fight. So we just really come out there and just play harder than them and try to out-execute them, basically.
Jaylin?
Mississippi State, again, they play harder than most teams in our league, so they give us a lot of things to look at on film, like what we need to get better at as a team. So playing against our guys all the last 5 years I've been playing against them, like they've been playing really hard, and it's been really good games against them. It's sad that it's over because I learned a lot from playing against those guys because they play really hard. So.
All right, we'll excuse the student athletes. You can return to the locker room. And we'll continue on with questions for Coach Pearl. Let's start right here in the front row, center.
Michael Giddens, Whirlpool, Auburn, Alabama. Coach, going back to the discussion about matchups, you're getting killed on the offensive boards early. You guys made some adjustments, it seemed like. Maybe you kind of stymied the tide there. What did you tell your team? What did you guys see? And how did you make adjustments to kind of win that in the second half?
Well, originally, what we talked about originally was the bigs are going to have to keep their bodies on their bigs, and the guards are going to have to rebound down. And then when you play against Mississippi State, it's just not that. It's got to take multiple efforts. The bigs have got to hit. They got to increase their umbrella, and then they got to go chase down loose balls because there's not going to be a clean one. It just isn't. And so I just thought early we were slow we're slow to do both. You're gonna get in a ball screen. You got to hit Hubbard and not let him turn a corner, and then you got to get back to Tolu, and you got to front him, and then it just takes multiple efforts. And I thought early on we weren't giving that kind of effort on the rebounding.
Okay, front row on the right.
Bruce, you had just depth in the second half. I mean, how big was that for you in this one? Or
Say again?
Depth. Just how big was it? You talked going into the tournament, how big depth would be for you guys. Did that come true here in the second half?
Yep. We're a program that's committed to playing 10 guys double-digit minutes. We're a program that's committed to playing our stars sometimes under 30, and so that we can be fresh in March, and so we can be fresh in the end of the season. We can be fresh at the end of games or the end of halves to be able to make runs. And so, it's like to have guys like Chaney Johnson or Chris Moore or KD Johnson, Trey Donaldson and Dylan Cardwell coming off the bench and just having confidence in those guys and not dropping off and being just different. And I mean, how many effort, energy plays did Chris Moore make? And then Dylan Cardwell. It's hard to have Janai Broome out of the game late. That's hard. But Dylan was such a factor defensively, and I wanted to give Janai a quick blow to kind of end it. And he comes out there and he switches on Hubbard and blocks a shot and gets the dunk. I just don't think a lot of backup centers are going to be in there in that time. But we believe in it. We believe in the sum of our parts.
Any question on the left aisle?
BP, yeah, same thing. I was going to ask you of the players' first single-digit win of the year. What do you think you kind of learned? Was it maybe not a bad thing that they had to go through something like that in the postseason?
It was really good. I got to tell you, working with I thought Chad Pruitt, Corey Williams did a really good job with the scout, the preparation, and then it's a limited play call list because most of what we do won't work because of the way they guard. It just, 73 points was hard. So it was good to be in a close game. I thought down the stretch, obviously, we didn't turn the ball over late, and we made our free throws. Got the ball to Jaylin Williams, got the ball to Chad Baker Mazara, and Trey, and they did a nice job closing it out.
Next question, second row on the aisle.
Doug Amos, ESPN ticket, Montgomery Auburn. Coach, second chance points, huge. They had 10 in the first half. They had 0 till the last few seconds on the dunk. That had to be big for your team.
Yep. Yeah, it was. And I think the guys talked about it, a lot at halftime. And, there's a tendency to succumb to fatigue and the physicality. And it was a tough game to work, from the standpoint of keeping that game under control. Both teams just playing really, really hard, really physically.
Okay, far right, second row.
Drew Hill, Daily Memphian. How have you seen Chris sort of develop in his years with you, and what does it mean to have a player that's kind of willing to take on different roles and change positionally and maybe where he is in the rotation?
Yeah, man. Chris Moore started for us most of the year because he was one of our best teammates. He's just a hard-working, great guy, and it let me bring Chad Baker Mazara off the bench, gave us some firepower off the bench. But, you're talking Dylan Carwell, a 4-year guy with a chance to be back for a 5th year. Jaylin Williams, a 5th-year guy, the winningest player in the history of Auburn basketball. Chris Moore, a 4-year guy. You just don't see that anymore in college basketball. That's your culture. That's your chemistry. We got to continue to find ways to recruit guys that want to be part of a family and want to grow and develop, and as you said, have their roles change. It requires some unselfishness. We can do that at Auburn because our kids love Auburn. They're not just out there. They care about the name on the back of the jersey and the front of the jersey when you go to Auburn. It's just true. And so, they've got a large voice. They got a loud voice in that locker room. Even some of those guys that are coming off the bench. And so, Chris brings physicality, he brings toughness, he brings respect, and made some big shots tonight. And he lets a guy like Chad Baker Mazara, who is clearly a more talented player, not have to play 32 or 33 minutes, and withstand 4 fouls.
We have time just for a couple more. Let's go. We got 2 in the back. Jenna, if y'all go back there and get those 2, then we'll wrap it up.
Coach, you mentioned after the Georgia game that the first game in the SEC tournament will be the hardest game that you play and that it gets easier as you go on. You're 1 game away from the title. Have you already kind of taken a look at Texas A&M and Florida, and what's it going to take for you to get that cut down the nets tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm laughing because I was obviously wrong. The toughest game wasn't the first game, but that didn't have to do with our opponent. We played really well against South Carolina. We lost at Florida. We beat Texas A&M at home. We've only played each team 1 time. I thought that the 4 teams remaining were the teams that played as hard and physically in this tournament as anybody. And I think those 4 teams, Texas A&M and Florida, I think in this game, same thing in their matchup. The matchups leading up to this. So they're different. They're both really different. We've got groups of coaches that have had the different scouts, and so I've got 2 groups of coaches that are going to be on going to be on Florida, and going to be on Texas A&M. I'll work on us for about an hour or 2 till the game's over, and then I'll shift gears and start working on the team. We'll meet with the team tonight at 8:00 give them a bit of a preliminary scouting report, let them get in and get off their feet, and then we'll get 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, breakfast and another scout. So we'll probably have about 2 hours between now and the game time with our team. And then it's just about going out there playing. And there's a lot on the line tomorrow. Opportunity for anybody here to make really some kind of special history. So we're still in position to make history.
Last question on the center in the back.
You mentioned scratching and clawing for 73 points today, had 86 against another really good defense yesterday, so it's 2 good offensive performances against 2 really different types of defense. What about your unit is able to be adaptable against different types of defensive teams?
It's a really good question because, like, again, Texas A&M tomorrow, with all their switching and all their changing of defenses, they're hard to play call against. And Florida with all their size and length. And what a matchup this is going to be now of great guard. You got 4 of the best guards in the league in Florida and Texas A&M kind of going at each other. Either way, it's going to be a really hard game. But tomorrow is going to be another hard game to score. So we'll have to figure some things out. And while we're trying to figure it out, we better get stops.
Thank you.